Welcome. This is a regularly scheduled meeting for the Hartford Community Development Authority Board. All prior meeting notices have been published, and I'll call this meeting to order. Do we have any public, for roll call rather? I noticed we do not have Karen Buell is missing, is absent and excused. Sorry about that. All right.
So did we ever determine Tim is done?
He has to be because he's not part of
He's not a part of it.
Yeah, he's not part. So the mayor will have to appoint a replacement is what we have to do. So, yeah, because he's no longer part of the city, so we'll work on that one. Anyhow, okay, appearances. I don't see anybody in the audience, so I'll do 1, 2, and 3 appearances. See no one come up. Let's go into the number 3 on the agenda, the unanimous consent agenda. It will have the April 29th board minutes, staff reports, and late loan reports, all of which is in your packet. Anybody want to?
I'll move to approve.
Move to approve.
I'll second it.
By Tony. All right, and we got a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any nays? No. All right. We're going to, is number 4 on the agenda is to, is the updated discussion and consideration of Main Street apartment service maintenance contracts. We'll turn that over to Lisa, you taking it, or is Jacob taking that one?
I could take it.
All right, we'll give it to Jacob.
So about mid-July last year, one of our employees for Main State resigned. Since then, we haven't been out without them. We pretty much have been kind of contracting, not even contracting, just hiring people as need. It's been pretty cost effective from our standpoint, but we just kind of want to solidify something with this contractor for maintenance services. So we're looking to Cedarburg. We're looking to use Cedarburg to contract with Cedarburg Solutions to become our maintenance service person for Main State Apartments. It's been preliminarily approved by the property owner because we do the property management for a private entity for this one. So we're just looking to get approval of this contract, then have it approved by the property owner, and then finalized by the Common Council. In the end, this is not costing us any more than the prior individual that we had on staff.
Okay, any questions? So on this contract, is it basically a evergreen contract until one or both parties cancel go in writing to cancel the agreement? And within writing, how long do they have?
We can cancel it upon written notice.
Upon written notice.
Upon request.
Yep.
So that they wanted to like cancel today, they're done today as of the first thing. And we're not going to ask for any type of time to maybe find a backfill or anything like that, or no?
Well, originally I was going to put in there like a certain amount of time, and then I had it reviewed by Ian, and he recommended just being able to cut ties if you wanted to.
Okay, so legal counsel is basically advised us just to keep it as a evergreen, and then upon the notification, within the notification, they could always say their last day is whatever too. So we could work that out, right?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. That was really the only question I really had. I did notice the cost breakdown as we looked through it. Looks like it's basically, like you said, what we've been paying over the last, I think it's in 2019 up to current, what we pay pretty much per month, $1,000 per month. So I have no other questions. Do I have any more questions? No questions? Do we have a motion to?
I'll motion.
All right. So approved. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Okay, Aaron second. Anything, any last comments? No? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? All right, none. Let's go to number 5. The Hartford CDA CDBG manual update. Review and update the state to the state of Wisconsin, the CDBG Housing Program Manual. So in the package, everybody got a copy of the manual. I think you had turned around and you had highlighted the areas of change, as well as summarizing some of the changes. Do you want to take that one, Lisa, or are you going to give that to our buddy Jacob again?
Would you like to take it, Lisa?
Sure, I can.
No.
So the main changes were on page 3, we used to have to maintain the records for 3 years, and now they want them to be maintained indefinitely. The rehabilitation loans, they used to have where a lead clearance test was always required, and now a lead clearance test will be required if it tested positive for lead or if it was presumed to contain lead. So if they tested it for lead and there was no lead, we don't have to do a lead clearance test. Emergency assistance is a brand new program. There's 2 different parts of the loan, the money. It's the RLF program, and then there's an emergency assistance program, which we don't have funding for. But this is actually a new program.
It's ours or theirs?
This is actually a new program that allows us to use our housing funds for an emergency assistance. So if, for example, there was like a tornado that came through and it affected 3 or 4 homes, we could potentially use the money to borrow to repair some of the houses. So if it was less than $5,000, that money would be given to a homeowner, not given, but lent to the homeowner. Sorry. If it was between $5,000 and $10,000, we could give it as a 5-year forgivable loan. And if it was between $10,000 and $50,000, we could give it as a 15-year forgivable loan. And then any of the money that we would use for that program, though, would have to be approved by the state prior to using it.
Is there income limitations with that because it's a disaster, or do the income limits not apply?
It would, as far as I know, it would follow the same criteria as the rest of our funding.
Okay.
So. The income verification and the income deduction, or basically the inclusions or exclusions for the income, I just updated the manual because there's always a lot of changes as to what's included as income or what's not included. So I just went through and made it current instead of like a summary. And then the last change that's listed is the bidding item number 5. It used to be we were having to choose the lowest responsible bid. And anything other than that, we'd have to take the funds from the homeowner to pay for the difference. But now they're including the last 2 bids as long as it's within 10% of the lowest bid. So you've got like an extra 10% that you could potentially choose without having to escrow the money.
Okay. All right, with that, is there any further question?
I'll motion to approve.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we got a first and a second. Everybody in favor say aye? Aye. Opposed? All right. You can go to print, Lisa. All right, let's jump down to item number 6, and that's our the radon testing and mitigation. We're going to review the RFP and approve or update the RFP extension and deadline, which we prefer. So let's go through the RFP and let's review it and decide if we need to do an update and extension, correct?
We shouldn't need an extension because we got 2 bids. The issue was we weren't finding that second bid for a long time, and we were kind of worried that we're pushing the limit on it.
So that was our extension, is to push the RFP
Yeah, if
out?
we did get that
Okay.
second one, we did
And
get
that's
that
what you
last minute.
passed out here was the second one then?
Yep, yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it.
So, part of the housing manual updated was by the DOA. We have to do radon testing as part of that. So to do that, we had to bid out for a radon testing provider. We had 2 bids. Again, for a while we only had 1, but we got the second one to throw in their bid. So looking at our evaluation of bids, we looked at cost effectiveness, project coordinator lead experience, firm project completion background, responsiveness to specifications of the project, RFP, timeframe for receiving services, minority or women business enterprises are disadvantaged with a total maximum of 85 points. Upon receiving our 2 applications, the one that won out on the points, which was Lifetime Radon Solutions, also happened to be our lower bidder on this. You can actually see that there are extra charges on the K Comfort that weren't, Lisa handed out this handy dandy little spreadsheet here. There were charges that weren't included on K Comfort that is not included in their total, so it would have even been a larger margin in costs had that been calculated in. But again, we're looking for Lifetime Radon Solutions to be our contractor for radon testing.
How often are you gonna be testing for radon?
So as far as I know, I can keep this radon bid for, I guess, for indefinitely.
No, I'm just asking how many projects are you anticipating? Is it 1 a month, 2 a month, 1 a quarter?
I told them 5 per year was what I estimated, and that's
So it's
just,
a pretty low number
It's a
that
low
it would even take advantage of this.
no, yeah, it's a low number.
So if they do the radon test, right, and it fails, they have to get the radon installed in there, is there, by law, are they required to continue, or once they have the system put in place, then do they have to requalify, retest again after that?
So what happens is they have to do the testing, and then if it tests out to be over the 4.0 picoliters or PCI/L, it ends up that they have to put together a plan to mitigate it, and then there is a retest afterwards to make sure that after it's been mitigated, that it comes in under that amount. And then there's supposed to be something in the plan that talks about continued maintenance to make sure that they keep up with the test, that it's functioning properly.
Correct.
But that's
Okay. So then, I guess the question really comes down to then is what we're being asked then is we review the proposal. If you see, we have 2 different, 2 quotes in front of us, right?
Yep.
And did you decide at this point which one to go with? Or, I mean, basically, if I
Yep.
look at it, they're really almost identical in the pricing.
Yeah.
they're really close.
No, you're saying the K Comfort has some extra charges for lifetime radiation after 20 linear feet, and then
Well, yeah. Actually, the difference, or the only reason personally that I was thinking the Lifetime Radon would be better is because K Comfort, I think, is like a different type of company that just does radon. Like they have somebody that does it in-house. But Lifetime Radon is solely radon. That's all they do. When I was talking to the guy from K Comfort, just to kind of ask him a couple questions, he wasn't familiar with some of the stuff that I was asking. So I just felt like, I don't know that they do as much radon, and since the other guy had the lower bid, it seemed like a better way to go.
So, yeah, we're looking to have Lifetime Radon Solutions recommended to the Common Council for
And
final
what does it
approval.
tie, if we vote yes right now for
Yep.
Lifetime, what does that tie us to? Why couldn't we approve both of these and you tell the homeowner, hey, here's our 2 approved vendors, call them?
Well, I mean,
Never thought of it that way. Having just 2, that usually is an option.
Because what if
can
you
have
called
option, yeah.
Lifetime and he's like, oh, well, I'm a month and a half out. You call Comfort and they're like, oh, we can come next week.
both of them were required to like put out the kind of time frame that they would need to get the job done, and they were both like within our less than 30-day window of time that they're guaranteeing that they would do the service.
I think we're splitting hairs. I think we just approve both of them. Let the homeowner call which one they want to call.
Well, I think part of it though is to get the rates, to get what they're proposing here, whereas we're saying that you are our preferred supplier, preferred vendor, and here's who we're signing up with for the agreement. That's how I understand this to be. So that's why I think the question comes down to then is which one do you choose, right? And that's, so you have one or the other. You can't do both. I get what you're saying. It makes sense. And then I guess that's the fight we go if the homeowner says, well, if they say we got 4 months, 6 months before they can get in there, the other guy get the next week. I guess the big question comes down to is at any given time, getting it in and getting it tested, are they within it? Do they have a time frame that we are requiring them to do it for the loan, right? So they have to have it done in X period of time, and if that's the case, you have that in their contract that they have to fulfill the time for the required lead time, I guess you'd call it, right? When a homeowner had to have the inspection and the stuff done.
Yeah, both of them had reasonable timeframes, and I guess, I'm not certain, but I would say, if you're willing to approve one of them, but maybe even say that you're willing to approve both of them. If one didn't work out, we could probably use the other one since they're both so comparable without rebidding.
And I'm thinking back to other programs that I've been involved in, like lead abatement for water. When you do the lead laterals and stuff like that, we had a loan or a grant program in Watertown where you had an option. You reached out to each individual contractor. You had 2 contractors. You reached out to them as a homeowner, and then you figured out which one was the best value for you, and then that's the one you went with, and then the city paid for that. So it wasn't just one single contractor. So I think we could have it where we just have both contractors as our options, and have the homeowner then reach out to them and then figure out which one is the best value for their loan process.
That makes sense. That's exactly what you said, yeah. I wasn't sure. I'm used to contractors either, obviously preferred or not.
You're not
preferred,
signing a contract with one of these, are you? Is there some type of contract that you sign with K-Comfort that says,
There is a contract.
and what does that contract entail?
It's basically a contract that says that they're going to fulfill their obligations, and I could get a copy of it.
But don't they sign that contract with the homeowner before the work is done? Or when the work is started? Or do they sign one with us saying that we're going to do the CDA right and do the project right?
Yeah, well, for the asbestos and lead testing, we did a contract with them.
And we're locking in some of these given rates so that they can't be fluctuating during the time of the contract, right?
Yeah,
So it's kind of like an letter of intent or whatever. This is what they plan on doing. Here's our pricing, and we'll hold it for any, depending on what the homeowner selects, but they'll at least get the base contract.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah.
and we're required to have a competitive bid, so I think it's just, to make sure we're getting a competitive bid.
Would the contract have a stipulation that, once the homeowner calls, that the, either company, whoever is agreed upon, must perform the initial assessment of the radon within a period of time, let's say 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks? And then if not, what's our option? Can one company just drag their feet, not come out and do the assessment? Is there a limitation of time that it has to be fulfilled?
For the other work, it's 60 days, but for this bid, we put in there with the, you know, like we asked them how much time they were gonna do, and they both put under 30 days, which
Under 30, okay.
is what we had as kind of a limit.
Because we're talking about what, $60 here?
Yeah,
We're talking about $60. Could you not sign that same contract with both of them and, like we were discussing, tell the homeowner, hey, these are our two preferred contractors, call them?
I mean, I've not had it where we've taken like 2 bids yet, but I don't think, because they are so comparable, I mean, I could call the state and just ask them, I mean, is it okay if they approve 2 contracts? I don't know that it would be a big,
Oh, let's just approve Lifetime and they're there. That was the one you preferred. That's the one that you felt knew when you were saying things about the work that needed to be completed. They answered the questions appropriately. So I'll motion to approve Lifetime.
thank you.
I'll second.
okay, so we got Josh as the first, Tony as the second. All right,
I have one question.
Yep. yep.
What recourse does a customer have, or the customer have, if they don't agree with how the radon fan or whatever is installed, or whatever? What repercussion do they have, or what rights do they have as far as it? Is it strictly up to the homeowner and whoever we agree upon to rectify if there's an issue with installation?
Well, with this program, with any of the work that's done, there's like a satisfaction of the customer in the agreement. So at the end of the day, if they are not happy with it, we have to make a decision whether they're still gonna get paid or not. But for radon mitigation, usually I mean, there is a lot of different things, I think, where they place it, and, you know, there's the fan, whether it's outside or inside. I mean, there's probably a lot of different things that affect it. But first and foremost, it does have to be under that 4.0 when they're all done. So that's how, you know, they determine if it's successful or not. But I imagine there is other things that would get under consideration. The K-Comfort one, just to elaborate a little bit, like a lot of times they run into old houses with dirt crawl spaces, and Lifetime Radon Mitigation had put in there like a $4 per cubic foot encapsulation for crawl space to make sure that, you know, there's no radon seeping up through the crawl space. And when I asked the gentleman from K-Comfort about it, he said that they would probably walk away from that because they haven't encountered that. Well, it's not real typical, but there's a lot of old houses with dirt crawl spaces. So I just felt like, you know, Lifetime Radon Solutions deals with that kind of stuff all the time.
Right.
So that was kind of my thinking on it.
And this is income based as well still, right? Where,
It is.
so maybe that Lifetime is familiar with somebody that's not affording that $400,000 purchase, right? Their purchase price is maybe lower, that they're going to have that dirt crawl space where K-Comfort's not usually in that.
That could be, yeah.
In that
That could be.
work area.
All right, any other comments?
I'll re-motion it.
Okay, so we have a first by Josh, second by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carried with going forward with the Lifetime. So, excellent. Thank you, thank you. Next one we have on there is any of the commissioners, communication or correspondence? Anything come in?
We have not received anything.
Nothing tonight?
There will be an appeal on a notice for eviction due to fire alarms on one of they had one too many, fire alarm in their apartment. So I think we're gonna grant the appeal, but it's gonna be based on, disconnect of the stove. But for the most part, we're working on that right now.
So you're saying at one of the senior housings, they've
Yep.
had too many,
Too many, smoke, fire alarm going off. And there is the overwhelming, or the overlying issue that the old part of Hardhaven is not sprinklered. And, the apartments themselves are actually connected to are hardwired into the fire alarm system in the hallway. So if apartment one goes off, the
They all
entire,
go off.
the entire unit goes off and everyone has to leave. It has created some kind of some apathy by people that live there that it's a false alarm, I don't need to go out. But for the most part, we'd had to sit down with the chief about it. He's okay with keeping them connected due to the fact that there is no sprinkler system in there. So we're gonna move forward with staying as is. And then we're gonna look at options of when we're replacing stoves and stuff like that, because now you can get stoves where it's timed for how long the burners can stay on, and you have to actively press a button every 15, 20 minutes to keep the burner going, so people aren't accidentally leaving the burners off. But this lady's had I think she's had 7 alarms on her. One was,
in 3 months, 6
no,
months?
in a couple years, over a couple year period. I mean, couple of them are real, where she left vegetables she was steaming them, but the burner got too hot and they started burning. But one time she was spraying her hair with Aquanet by the smoke detector, didn't know that would set one off, but apparently it does. So that was a false alarm on that one, but,
Yeah.
so we're dealing with that right now.
Okay. So you're looking at that and get back to us then? There's really
Yes, we'll
no
get back to
action
you on
taken.
that appeal
Okay.
process on that one.
All right. All
Motion
right.
to adjourn.
Well, and any other committee report, commissions, questions? Want to bring up requests? All right, I heard a motion to adjourn by Josh. Do I hear a second? We got Tony. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Say la vie.
You can stay here.